Hello, folks. We are back. We are live once again, and you are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, metal detecting, treasure hunting radio for you, the always valued and appreciated listener. Oh, were you worried? Did you wonder what happened? Maybe we got caught up in traffic. Maybe we even got caught up in some of this rain that everybody keeps getting. Oh, good grief. I don't think there's hardly a dry spot of ground, unless, of course, you're down in the Carolinas. They were definitely hot lately. We are, in fact, here. Hopefully, people are coming into the chat, which I will try to bring that up here in a moment. And we will see what is going on. We'll see if everybody has, in fact, joined us in the chat. Last week's show, Howard Hewitt. Man, I'm telling you what, that was a great show. Really enjoyed that show. And it looks like, yes, we are having people piling into the chat. I see Swansea, Ohio Relic Hunter, Suki, there's just, the list goes on. It's trucking right along, which is always a plus. Tonight, we should probably bring in the always there and dependable, in at the last minute, literally in this particular case, Mr. Chris Engel. How is it going?
Good, Josh. Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
All right. We're definitely hoping that the Dirt Bandit is as well as can be. They're trying to wrap up some things in Missouri and fixing to head back to Mississippi very soon. So he will not be, well, I won't say he will not be making it. He may, you never know with the Dirt Bandit, he may even just drop in on us and say, hey, what's going on, guys?
Yeah, he may. He's unpredictable. He could very well do that.
Right. Before the show, I had been talking with our guest tonight when you happened to call, and hey, last minute notice, but there's always room. Join in.
Yes, sir.
And our guest tonight, really interesting guy to talk to. Just a generally all-around good guy, real passion for the hobby and the history. And you even had the opportunity to talk to him for a few minutes before the show.
Yes, I did.
I think it's going to be a good show.
It is going to be an awesome show. It really is.
And for those that follow the Utah Nichols chats, you've seen him on there a few times lately as well. Even as recently as last Monday, where there were some very good points made on that show. And tonight, he's actually got time to sit down with us here on Beyond Sight and Sound. Our guest tonight is none other than Tarheel Diggin from YouTube. How's it going, Matt?
Hey, Josh.
Hello,
great
Matt.
to be on the show tonight. And hey, Chris, how you doing out there?
Good, sir. How you doing?
That's just great. Awesome, man.
I should let the listeners know, too, there was mention that the wildcard entries will still continue for a while, plus there's a chance of a contest tonight. More prizes going out, a couple more winners. Tonight we figured we'd do things a little different, though. You want to listen to the show close, because we're actually going to have a hat in the chat. We're going to pose a question later into the show that the first person to post the correct answer in the chat, not calling in with it, they will actually win an XP hat, courtesy of Treasure Hunter Supply. And speaking of contests, Matt's even got one going himself on his channel.
That's right. That's right. I just posted last Sunday a youth video contest, and thanks for letting me talk about this a little bit, Josh. It's really important to me for us to get the next generation of detectors going in this hobby and get them going in the right direction. And this has been a project that I've been working on for the last several months in trying to pull together a contest or a giveaway of some type for the young kids out there. I did a contest back in May. Actually, it was just a giveaway, kind of a 2,000 subscriber giveaway, and I had a blast with that. Calico has actually stepped up and really helped me out. I've been collaborating with them for the last couple of months right now, and they've sponsored this contest that I'm doing. And what I'm going to do is I got the video up last Sunday, and all the rules and all the information are in that video. But basically, it's for anyone 17 and under, guy or gal, and I want to see lots of gals involved in this now. Okay. Now, what you have to do is just submit a video no longer than 2 minutes in length, telling me why you want a metal detector. And what I'm going to do is I've got the top 10 videos are going to be revealed in a compilation video, and the top 10 will receive a prize, and the third place will get a little extra swag, and second place gets a little Calico gift certificate along with some swag. But first place in this video contest is a brand new Minelab Go Find 20 metal detector.
Nice.
That's great. And the giveaway that you had prior to this, it seemed like that was a very good turnout for you. There was a lot of participation there.
Yeah, there was. I think that went extremely well, and that's kind of what influenced Calico to help me out with this next giveaway as well. But they did send me a Minelab Go Find 40, which I field tested for them. I posted a few videos, which have done quite well. I think on the one video, the field test, I got over 10,000 views on that video now, which is very good for my videos.
Hey,
anyway.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
wow.
But yeah, they allowed me to give that detector away. Obviously, I'm a Minelab user. I'm a Minelab fan. I like my E-Track, but I wasn't going to use that Go Find 40, and I said, you know what? Let's give that away. Let's give that away to someone who's going to use it, and that went over really, really well with my subscribers.
Oh yeah, and I thought that was very cool too, that you would put in that giveaway that this was something that you would really like see going to maybe someone who didn't have a machine at all, so that they could get into the hobby. Like if maybe you knew someone that used to be into the hobby, but maybe they had to sell their machine or something. Maybe they could get back into the hobby. Or if you knew a younger person that would like to get into the hobby, this was the opportunity to do that. And I thought that it actually went very well that way.
Yeah, it went really smooth, and I think Calico was pleased with the results, and they're still getting a lot of good response from that. And like I said, it's been a good collaboration. They've helped me out, and I'm helping them out, and setting up those win-win situations is pretty hard to beat.
Right. Absolutely. Talking about the Go Finds and how you're a Minelab user yourself and everything. Yeah, people know that I am certainly big on Minelab myself. I know I really enjoyed my time with the E-Track, and I have just an absolute blast with the CTX. It's some good stuff, that's for sure.
Well, it's like I was talking before, Josh. There's metal detecting is kind of like truck owners. You're a Dodge fan, a Chevy fan, a Ford fan. Well, when it comes to metal detecting, you're a Garrett fan, a Minelab fan, a Fisher fan, a White's fan. There's a lot of great machines out there, and they all do a wonderful job. But I think we just kind of like to use what works for us, you know.
Oh, absolutely, I agree.
And I'm still trying to figure out what works best for me, the Deus, the Bliss, the Garrett, the Technetics, if I could just figure out which one.
Yeah, I think Chris is up there now to, 27 different machines?
Cool, I got Whites, I got everything. I've got all my old Whites from way back when. I don't ever get rid of anything.
Wow. I guess to start off with, Matt, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what got you into metal detecting? I mean, were you big on history prior to it? What kind of spurned it for you where you just all of a sudden said, hey, I think I'm going to do this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've always been a bit of a history buff, kind of a nerd in that respect. I'd rather watch the History Channel than the major channels, NBC, ABC, CBS, or Fox. So And having said that, I was an avid golfer several years ago and really, really loved to play the game of golf. Well, I moved from Minnesota, where I was from, to North Carolina about 10 years ago. And I played so much golf that I developed a little injury in my elbow. I had just some tendonitis that developed, but it got to the point where my doctor said, hey, you've got to take 6 months off from golf. You can't play golf for 6 months. And I said, oh, great. What am I going to do now? So I kind of tapped into the local area and some of the history, and in North Carolina obviously has a lot of history. And I started watching some YouTube videos, and of course when you type in metal detecting North Carolina, and who's going to pop up? Well, there's Nugget Noggin, of course. So I watched a lot of his videos, and I thought, well, doggone it, if he can go out and find those great things, those Civil War relics and coins like that, I should be able to find something cool in my area. So yeah, I bought my first metal detector just over 3 years ago, a little Fisher F4, and went out metal detecting. And of course, I went to my park and I started digging some clad. But my park has a lot of history in it, and I dug my first silver coin, which is really what got me hooked to the hobby. And anyone who follows my channel will probably know what my first silver coin was. But I popped it out of the hole, and I looked at the date, and I couldn't recognize it. I looked at the president, and I'm like, that doesn't look familiar. And I looked at the date, and it said 1816. And I brought it home.
Wow.
I brought it home, and I did some research on it, and I realized I dug a Spanish real. And my first silver coin was a Spanish real, and that was what really got me hooked to the hobby. And ever since then, it's just been quite a journey.
What was that, about 3 years ago?
Yeah, that was about 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago to the date. My first detector arrived on July 3rd. So.
Oh wow! So this is kind of a little bit of an anniversary in a sense.
Yeah, almost to the date. Yeah, and it was on about my fourth hunt that I found that real, and then shortly after that, of course, I was completely addicted to the hobby and found the funds to upgrade to an E-Track. And then I found my first Civil War bullet very shortly after that, and that changed my course. That kind of, I bought the E-Track and hoping to find a lot of silver coins, which I did, and still do. But when I found that first Civil War bullet and I held that in my hand, I said, wow, I've got something here. This really means something. And
right. So you had got into it, much like many of the rest of us, where you're thinking, hey, I'll go out and find coins and stuff. But then you had a real turning point in the hobby, so to speak, when you recovered your first Civil War bullet.
Yeah, absolutely. That the white patina on those bullets is unmistakable. And I pulled a drop 3 ringer out of the hole, and I held it in my hand, and I said, the first thing that popped into my head happens to be whatever pops into my head now whenever I pull a bullet out, is, man, it would suck to get hit with one of these traveling 2,000.
It would, wouldn't it?
But then I realized what I had in my hand, and I did a lot of research locally here and found out so much about our local history and what happened around here. I don't live near any battlefields. I don't live near where even any major skirmishes took place, but the Civil War troops were here, and the Union troops especially occupied this area immediately after the surrender of the South, when Johnston surrendered his troops to General Sherman in mid-April of 1865. Shortly thereafter, there were about 60,000 troops in and around Raleigh, which had a population of 20,000 people. So you can imagine the strain that put, on the area. But they camped anywhere they could, and shortly after the surrender, they started moving back up north, and they camped I found documents and during my research that pretty much narrowed down exactly where they camped, and I've been able to find some pretty awesome locations and recover some really neat things from that time period.
Right. Anybody that has followed your videos has seen that you have made quite a number of nice finds.
Well, I think a lot of that is just due to the research. I think, quite honestly, I could probably take a bounty hunter into some of those areas and come out with something awesome.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. What, most recently, I think one of them that kind of pops to the top of my mind was you had found what appeared to be possibly a Masonic pendant.
Yeah, one of my favorite spots to hunt, and I've got several of them, but there's these old foundations that have quite a bit of history in them. I found, I found Confederate memorabilia there. I found Union buttons and things, and this place just keeps giving. I went in there with a small coil and was working real slow one day and found that little Masonic medal. Didn't really know what it was when I pulled it out. It was all covered in dirt, but did some careful cleaning and did some research on it, and turned out to be something pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Were you able to kind of do any more research on that to maybe guess, say, when it dates to or anything?
Yeah, it's really hard to say on the date. The best I've been able to see is late 1800s, which makes sense to the period that I'm hunting in. It could be early 1900s. It's really hard to say, but it was a piece of jewelry or some kind of like a tie clip or key fob or something like that. It's hard to exactly narrow it down. There were so many different varieties of those little Masonic medallions around. And
on the event page for the show, we actually used a photo of yours showing a number of the Civil War bullets. Nice photo, by the way. And I'm curious, what does Tarheel Diggin do with his finds?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, I've got everything. Well, I shouldn't say everything, but most of the good ones are in a display case here that are about 10 feet in front of me. I've been working with a local historian here in the area where I hunt, and we're putting together. He has a museum here, but the museum does not have a very good security system in place yet. And he took a look at what I've got, and I'm more than willing to display in his museum, just kind of having things on loan, I guess you'd say.
Right.
But he really wants to work with me, but he has to upgrade his security system before he wants to put my items on display, and I'm very much okay with that. But
absolutely. I mean, we work hard.
Everything I find, aside from a few coins, everything I find stays local. I don't sell anything. I don't I don't keep it in a dark drawer either. I try to keep it on display. I work with this local historian. I'll bring my display cases out and show. If he has an event going on with some kids or whatever, that's kind of some of my favorite things. The look on the face of a 10-year-old boy when you drop a Civil War bullet in his hand, and his eyes get as big as $50. It's pretty amazing.
Sometimes it still happens for us hunters.
Yeah, exactly.
That is so true.
So that's definitely good that you're working with the historian like that. And the way it sounds, he's definitely interested in the finds that you make, the history that you recover. He would just be a little more comfortable with a better security system to protect said.
Yeah, exactly right. And he's very intrigued by what I've been finding in the area, and I've been working with him to kind of talk about what I've been finding and where, and he wants to document it all, which is great. It's great to have someone like that locally here that I can work with.
Oh, absolutely.
It is. And too, like you said, the school kids that get the chance to go. Not only their history's in a book, but to actually go there and see it. Just like you said, dropping that bullet in a 10-year-old's hand. I mean, what more or exciting can that be to that child? It spurs his interest into, let's say, getting into learning history and learning about this stuff.
That's right. 847, you're on the air. Who do we have?
You got Craig M. Stryker. How you doing, brother?
How's it going, Craig?
How's it going, Craig?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good, sir.
Everyone alive and kicking, got their fireworks all ready for this weekend?
Well, hopefully the fireworks come from the finds we're making out in the field.
Yes.
Well, yeah, either way, if I light off any rockets, I'm going to draw little metal detectors on them and try to increase the hobby.
Hey, there you go. Maybe, I guess this would be kind of a mean trick, but maybe tape a couple of Lincoln pennies to them or something when you fire them off.
Yeah, hey, there you go. Yeah, let the beginners find them suckers for a while, huh?
Right. Something that we can do with all those pennies.
I got a question for your guest. I know you said now you're using a Minelab right now?
Yeah, I've got a Minelab E-Track that I'm using, Craig.
Okay, yeah, well, I started out using whites. Every now and then I use it, and I'll go to a Garrett. But my F75 is a Go machine. When you started out, can I ask what machine you used and what drove you to the Minelab to saying, all right, this is the sucker I want to use?
Good question.
That's a great question, Craig. When I first started out, I wasn't sure if I was going to like the hobby or not, and I didn't want to invest that much in it. I started with a Fisher F4, about a $400 machine. So, yeah, maybe a little bit above entry level. I didn't want the worst machine out there, but I didn't think I needed to justify the best machine either. That Fisher F4 was a real nice compromise. Decent depth and decent separation. A very simple machine to learn. As far as a first machine goes, it was a very good purchase. After about 6 months of that, I started looking around seriously, and it was kind of between a Garrett AT Pro, which still in my mind is the best dollar-for-dollar detector on the market. It was between that or a Minelab E-Track. And I watched a ton of videos on YouTube. And basically, I wanted the AT Pro, but I knew I was going to end up with the E-Track eventually. So I just went ahead and splurged and got the E-Track. I got permission from the better half and went for it.
There you go. Well, I was going to say it's a good thing you stayed in that price line because I used to golf, and if TaylorMade made a metal detector, I think that'd be pretty pricey.
Well, it's hard to find a driver under $400 these days, Craig.
Well, yeah. Well,
There you
hey,
go.
that'd be a good name for. That'd be a great name for a detector, wouldn't it, Bertha?
So,
thanks a lot for answering the question. You guys have a great night.
Oh, absolutely.
Thanks for
the call, Craig.
Bye-bye.
So with that in mind, you kind of had it narrowed down. You're like, oh, okay, AT Pro, E-Track, AT Pro. What, because they are both very good machines. And I must say, I'm partial to Minelab. I really like their performance. What finally tipped the scale for you? Was there something that maybe you saw another video or something like that where you're going, okay, I thought I might wind up with Minelab anyway, but this just clinched it?
Again, at the time, I was more concerned with finding silver. I was 6 months into the hobby, and I just wanted to find every silver coin I could. And the reputation of the E-Track is definitely, it is a silver hawk. And
yes, it is. That thing is a silver beast. The silver coins almost jump out of the ground and say, "That's it, I give up."
Yep, they jump right out of the ground in front of you. But no, I mean, like I said, the AT Pro is an awesome machine, and I still believe it's one of the best machines out there you can get dollar for dollar.
And very, very light.
Yeah, it's very versatile. The waterproof was a big factor as well. But for me, I think I was watching videos, JD's Variety Channel, Cut a Plug, Tony 2 Cent. A lot of these E-Track users put out some great videos out there, and that's really what sold me. It wasn't anything from any literature from Minelab or anything like that. It was watching these guys out digging, and I said, you know what? I need that machine.
Right, so it was not necessarily the commercials, the advertisements, no hype, nothing like that. It was actual real-time in-field footage from the users. Yep,
that's exactly right. I watched those videos because I knew these guys are not getting paid to hunt with these machines, and those are the opinions I appreciate.
Well, did you have a kind of a hard learning curve with that E-Track, or did you pick it up pretty quick?
You know what? It took me a while. Moving from a Fisher F4, which is a pretty basic, 3-tone unit.
Right. You've got more tones, a different number scale.
But here again, those videos on YouTube helped me out so much. I felt like I really hit the ground running with that machine when I started. And I went to an area where I could learn it, where there wasn't a lot of trash. And I'd highly recommend that. I've gotten emails and messages before from folks who, they got their E-Track. It's the first machine ever, and they went outside their front door, and it's just going crazy. It's just one noise after another. Well, I say, you know what? Get out about 50 yards away from your house, and let's start over.
Yeah, that is a very good point, too, because they, like you said, it's their first machine. They're excited. They want to get out there and find these silver coins and jewelry and stuff like that they see everyone else finding in the videos. And then they find that there is, in fact, a lot of trash to contend with at times. And for some people, they get very discouraged easily once that happens because, you pay that much money for a machine and you think you can just go right out and start making these great finds, and it doesn't happen like that. You have to put time in with learning that machine.
Yeah, it took me on mine, and I had to get rid of mine because I got the arthritis in my elbow so bad, and I had to get rid of mine, and I hated to do it. But I'll tell you what, that E-Track, once you get it set up for your personal preferences, man, you can go to town. There's nothing that you can pick the trash out, you can pick the good stuff out. It's just, to me, it was probably one of the best all-around machines, like you said, and also the AT Pro. Those two, as a backup machine, gets you an AT Pro as a backup machine, and that's all you'll ever need.
Oh, yeah. And when you find that talking to most E-Track users, they know, after they've had that time in with the machine, just about positively, certainly, when you run that coil over a silver coin.
You know it.
I mean, it just about jumps up out of the ground and clubs you.
Yeah, in fact, the guy that I sold it to, I traded in and got a DS. But the guy that's funny, I met him up at they had a metal detecting show in March up in Longview, Texas, and he was at the table right next to us, and we got to talk. He said, "Well, that's your machine." He said, "But they went and they changed all the settings. They did a master reset." And I said, "No problem." I said, and they had a big silver hunt, ringing KG with there and all this, and they had a big silver hunt. And I said, "Look, after they're through and everybody comes back in, let's go out there and I'll set this machine up just like I had it in fine silver." Walks out of there, within 5 minutes, boom, silver dime, boom, another one. And I said, "Okay, it's your machine now. You start swinging it. I'll do the digging for you." And he went out there and just one after another. He was just so thrilled with it.
Awesome. And it looks like we're still getting quite a bit of activity in the chat. I see
Yeah.
Al Foo's even dropped in with us.
Al Foo's in the house. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Al's Facebook page. Al's All Metal Detecting. A wonderful group on Facebook.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Really, really neat, too, the way he's got that all themed. Like Fridays, he does, well, him and other members as well do a number of contests on the page on Fridays.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
And then they've got their, the Story of the Week submission, and I believe here recently they've started a themed story competition.
Yeah, there's something for everyone on that page.
And a lot of very friendly and helpful members there. And Al does quite a good job with his YouTube channel as well, Al's
Yes, he does.
Detecting.
I have to say too, Josh, that Al was one of my very first subscribers on YouTube, so I've always appreciated that.
Oh, wow. So
Yep.
A little bit of kinship there.
That's right. That's right. He was like my third subscriber ever.
Wow. And what was that? His last video, I believe. Man, that was a couple of chunkers of rings he found.
Yeah, he nailed it. I tell you what, he hit the tide just right, I guess, on the beach.
I guess. It certainly paid for him to endure that heat that day. I'm sure and he even mentioned in his video, too, that suddenly, I'm not so hot. I'm all right with that.
One of the fun things about this hobby and YouTube and everything is sometimes you get to meet the folks that you've been chatting with back and forth in the messages the last couple of years. And I had the opportunity to meet Al Foo and also Palmetto Digger, Shannon, down in South Carolina last spring. And we just had a great time. We met for lunch. We didn't have time to detect. I was actually on vacation and just, I said, you know what, I can't go to South Carolina and not meet up with these guys. And so we had a nice little, nice lunch and shared some great stories. It was a great time.
Oh, absolutely. It's always nice to be able to kind of tie a face to the name, so to speak, and sit down and talk with people like that in person, actually get to meet them. A month or so ago, my wife and I had the opportunity to sit down with ring finder Denny Morrison and his wife.
Nice.
Had some coffee, talked about some past hunts, saw some Civil War relics that he had recovered, and it really was just a grand time. A good time. We didn't do any hunting. We just sat and talked over coffee, but it really was an enjoyable time.
Sometimes that's just as good as going out hunting, is just sitting and talking about the finds you make and sharing the stories.
Absolutely. You do have a very good point there, Chris. Let's see. We'll go ahead and open up the phone lines. If we've got anybody with some questions or comments for you that maybe they're first-time listeners or something, because I have seen some new names in the chat.
I have too.
The call-in number is 419-549-5744. And always, we appreciate the listeners tuning in, and always welcome new listeners. It's always great to see new names in the chat, and, maybe they find that they actually enjoy the show, and we do find that a lot of times some of those new names do return. The more, the merrier.
Yep, that is so true, Josh.
Now, you've actually called into the show before, Matt, when we've talked about bucket list items.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. You and Kenny put on a great show that night, and the bucket list is always something that I think we look at as detectorists, and everybody's got their bucket list out there, and that was an excellent show that night, by the way.
Well, thank you. Everybody seems to have their own particular list, and let's see here. We've got a caller. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, guys. It's Super Drew.
Hey, Super Drew.
Hey, Drew.
Hey, how's it going, Matt? Long time no talk.
Yeah, it's been a while.
What, 2 days?
Yeah.
Hey, I got probably a question that you've been asked a million times, but on Harmonica Hill, I see you find harmonica reeds all the time, but have you ever found anything a little bit more complete, like a little bit of wood maybe still on one of those reeds?
Yeah, it's hard to age those harmonicas, and for folks who aren't familiar with what we're talking about, I've got a spot that I went back into and found some Union relics from the Civil War, and I always pull harmonica reeds when I go back in there, and I've literally got 40 or 50 of these harmonica reeds. I really don't know the whole story behind them, but yeah, I find them all different shapes and sizes, Drew. They're different. I think they're different ages, and occasionally I'll pull one where I'll have the two reeds connected with some loose wood, but the wood never holds out. It's on the brink of rotting. So
yeah, it rots out pretty quick, I suppose.
Yeah, it does.
So what are we thinking? Maybe a guy who lived in the area collected them, or maybe sold them?
The best guess I've had so far is that someone had some type of a music school there, or lessons or something like that. And the other possibility is it's some type of a repair shop, because I find so many broken reeds and pieces of reeds, and I'm waiting to find that clincher, that sign that says harmonica repair or harmonica lessons or something like that I can finally quit hunting there, I guess.
Yeah, that would be fantastic if we could finally put an end to that mystery, because it's absolutely amazing how many harmonica reeds you have found there.
The reason I keep going back there, and I know the Union troops were camped there, because I have found a couple of Williams cleaner bullets, which were Union issued, and Union Williams regulation bullets, a couple of those. I've also found an Eagle infantry button there. But the best find that I think I've made off of Harmonica Hill, considering the time frame, was an 1864 Abraham Lincoln campaign token.
Oh, how
nice. These were often carried by the Union troops, but consider again the time frame here. It was middle of April 1865 when the South surrendered. So those troops started heading back up north, within 2 or 3 days. A week later, a week after the surrender, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep picturing in my head some Union soldier that heard or caught wind of the news of Lincoln's assassination and tossed that token out in disgust. But who knows? Who knows? Probably it was lost in a drunken rampage. Who knows?
Well, you may remember I found one of those in a coin collection recently, and you were the one that ID'd it for me.
That's right. I do remember that. That was a
I still have that one.
That's probably worth a little more than a penny, Drew.
Oh, I've had it valued, and it shocked me.
Yeah.
Really did. Yeah, something else I'd like to ask you to mention is what we were talking about Monday night on Utah's chat about your bucket list find that you found part of recently.
Yeah, and I mentioned this to Kenny Moore when I called into the show, Josh, about the bucket list.
Right.
I have yet to dig a belt plate or a box plate, either US or CS. Obviously, CS would be pretty crazy, but
right.
I did find last weekend a belt keeper from a union-issued belt. Didn't really know what it was when I found it. Got some good resources. Again, reached out to my Facebook community, my YouTube community, and they ID'd it positively as a belt keeper, which is part of a belt from a union issued. Like I told Drew the other night, I guess I got to find the better half now. I found the worst half. Now I got to find the better half.
It's got to be right there somewhere, wouldn't you think?
I tell you what, I've hit it really hard after that find. I hit it really hard, but I'm going to be looking some more. That's for sure.
Well, hey, man, it was great talking to you, Matt. Josh, have a great evening. And
thanks for calling
talk
in.
to you guys soon.
Yeah,
thanks, Drew.
Thanks for the call, Drew.
Night, guys.
And it just goes to show, you got to stay determined. You got to stay persistent. I'm sure probably where you found that item, it's not like that was the first time you've been there. Probably, quite possibly hit it before, and then you've been back, and now all of a sudden you found this. So it's possible the other piece could be there.
Josh, I got a great question here from Past Pursuits in the chat that says, do you dig it all or do you pick your signals? And that is a wonderful question. When I'm in an area where I know there was Civil War activity, I dig it all. Maybe not all the iron, because I kind of know, I understand what went on there already. I don't need to dig all the trash, but, and again, it depends on the mood I'm in. If I'm in a scouting mood and I just want to take off in the woods and try to find some new area, I'll do some cherry picking, but I pay a lot of attention to the low signals as well. I found some really nice relics that rang in like a nickel.
Oh yeah, gotta love them low tones.
Yep, exactly. So that's a great question. When you get on the right spot, you dig it all. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, but that goes to show too, like you said, you've already got a very good idea what went on in that area based on your research.
Right.
So that kind of gives you the ability at times where you may choose not to dig quite everything. Almost everything, though.
I don't know, I've gotten pretty good with the E-Track to the point where I'm pretty sure, before I even pop the hole, I'm pretty sure what I've got. But the surprises are always awesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They are.
I mean, when you hit them surprises like that, it's like, oh, wow, okay, I wasn't expecting that, but
That's
hey.
what it's all about. Yep.
And we are joined by another caller. How's it going? You are on the air.
Hey, Josh, it's Brandon. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, guys, how you doing? And I want to say hello to Matt. This is the first time actually talking to him in person, but I've obviously watched a lot of his videos. I've messaged him back and forth a couple times on Facebook. How are you, Matt?
Hey, Swans, great to hear you, man.
Hey, I got a quick question for you. I've got a question pertaining to one of the weirdest things that's ever happened to you while metal detecting. I've been out metal detecting in a farm field that was harvested for potatoes, and people then in the neighborhood have actually asked me to go to a separate section of the field so they could grab the leftover potatoes behind me, which was one of the weirdest things that's ever happened. Tell me something weird that's ever happened to you while metal detecting, an odd, out-of-the-blue, strange story if you've got one.
Wow, that's a great question.
That could be interesting.
Man, oh man, that is a fabulous question. I've got too many to pick from, Brandon.
Well, to give you a minute to think on it there, they had harvested 2 days before I did this, and the farmer had actually told locals that you're welcome to go there after we've harvested, pick up potatoes all you want. And this family of people, there was like 9 of them get out of this caravan, and they're in the same area where I'm metal detecting back and forth, and they asked me if I could go to a different section of the field because I was squishing the potatoes that they planned on picking up. And all I said in response was, I can move for you, but I was just mashing them ahead of time for you.
I will tell one story here, and I wanted to get this out there. It's actually a pretty humorous story. I was out hunting with one of my buddies, Woody, who secures a lot of permissions for us. And we went to an old plantation home, and the owner was, let's say, far from intelligent, okay? I was hunting around the driveway, and he was kind of keeping an eye on us. You know, as most property owners will do, they might follow you around for the first few minutes till they get a good feeling about what you're doing. And,
right, they want to see what you're doing, how you're doing it.
Yeah, so I'm hunting along with the E-Track and a small coil, and I'm popping out these little signals, and he's saying, well, what do you think you got there? And I said, well, I think it's a clad quarter because it's only 2 inches down. And sure enough, it would be a clad quarter. And he was fascinated by that. And I'd come to the next signal, and I said, well, I think this is probably going to be a zinc penny. And I'd pop it out, and sure enough, it was a zinc penny. And again, he was fascinated. And my buddy Woody, who hunts with an AT Pro, and he's a very good detectorist, by the way, he went over and told the landowner, he said, Matt's machine is so sophisticated, it'll tell you whether the coin is in the ground heads up or heads down. And the guy's eyes got as big as silver dollars, and I said, yeah, it's true. I said, I've done some experimenting with it, and I find that about 50% of the time it is dead on.
That's great.
Wow.
If you can get somebody to believe that, you should be able to sell a bridge here pretty quick now.
Hey, there you go.
We have a good time.
Hey, guys, just wanted to figure that one out, but hey, it was great hearing you on here, and continue a great show, Josh.
All right, thanks for
Thanks
calling,
for calling,
Swans. You were starting to say, Matt, there was another question, maybe?
No, I was just going to say, Swans, thanks for calling, Brandon. I really appreciate that. I appreciate all your support on YouTube as well, buddy.
And I guess maybe we should go ahead and drop into the chat real quick. It looks like we do have quite a number of people in the chat.
Yes, we do.
So maybe we'll go ahead and do the hat in the chat giveaway. For those who have been listening, Matt mentioned that there was a real turning point in the hobby of metal detecting. What changed his perspective? What find did he make that was that turning point? The first correct answer in the chat wins themselves an XP hat, courtesy of Treasure Hunter's Supply. And Tam will keep an eye on that as well in case I miss it, or if one of you guys see it.
I think Super Drew's got it.
Oh.
But then I got, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be the first posted correct answer.
Yep, it would be Super Drew. He said Real.
No.
No, it's not?
That is not the turning point in the hobby.
Oh, the turning point. Okay.
So we'll see what they say there. If somebody happened to get that answer in and I hadn't noticed it, Tam is also keeping an eye on things, I believe. And it looks like somebody said Ohio Relic Hunter, maybe?
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, looks like I guess that settles it then. It looks like Ohio Relic Hunter has gotten himself an XP hat, as well as a wild card entry into the wild card contest. So congratulations to him.
There was definitely a bullet that was the turning point. That Civil War bullet completely turned my detecting adventures into more of a Civil War relic hunter than a coin hunter. So, great question, Josh.
Right, you kind of found your. I would imagine anyway. That's when you suddenly start to realize, hey, it's not just about the coins. I'm really holding a piece of history. Almost in a sense, a humbling experience.
I see a question out there from Relic Dirty Hands. She brought up a great question here.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, have you ever been snuck up on? Let me get to it here. Have you ever been snuck up on while detecting, or what's the weirdest thing you found? Yeah, I've been snuck up on a couple of times. A quick story about that. I was detecting at a schoolyard, a fairly public schoolyard. It was summer, so school was out. Mm-hmm. And I had two gentlemen come up to see if I was interested in purchasing a ring. They thought I was out metal detecting, looking for rings and jewelries, and they brought up this junk ring, and they showed it to me, and they told me they were going to sell it to me for $200, and I politely declined. Wow. And they went on their way. And then another quick story too. I have in the woods near Harmonica Hill. There's a bit of a feral dog problem. So I always have to kind of look over my right shoulder, my left shoulder. I keep one ear under the headphones and one ear open, and every now and then I'll see these feral dogs, and they're pretty good sized dogs. They're A little smaller than a German Shepherd, perhaps, but they come through the woods and they check me out, and I check them out, and we just kind of go our own separate ways. But I did see them, I witnessed them take down a fawn, a whitetail fawn one time. That was pretty incredible. Yeah, I mean, something, you know, when you spend that much time outside, you're going to see those types of things, and it was just kind of nature happening right in front of me. It was pretty amazing.
Wow. Definitely cool. I mean, it goes to show, though, I mean, you're out there, you're seeing the nature like that. That's certainly good that they didn't come after you.
Yeah.
But it does go to show that we do, in fact, have to be aware of our surroundings at times.
Absolutely. Yep. And it's more, the critters, I worry more about the critters than I do about the people where I hunt. It's just the way it is.
And that is a good point to bring up like that. So that was definitely another good question from the chat.
Yeah, he had also asked what was the weirdest thing you found.
Well, it looks like we're joined by another caller here. Who do we have? Hello, caller.
Digger Marty. How are you guys?
Ah, Digger Marty.
Hey, Marty.
Digger Marty.
Nice.
Dirt Flicker.
Yes.
Hey, Nort Flicker. How
nice
you doing,
job on the last video.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that, and thanks for your comments, and I enjoy yours as well. And actually, I was turned on to Matt's video by watching you. And I was actually surprised that no one else called in. I mean, you're an advocate of the hobby, sir, and I'm impressed by, you giving away that machine to kids. I think that's great. It's kind, creative, and cool.
I appreciate that, Dirt Flicker. I saw you had subscribed to me earlier today, and I think I got you back. I subbed you back, but
I sure did, man. Anybody who does what you do, I'm behind you 100%, man. I just want to let you know that. That's awesome.
Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, this giveaway, especially for the kids, this has kind of been months in the making, and this is not something that happened on a whim. But I think we all owe it, guys. I think we all owe it to the next generation to not just to detecting, but kind of be mentors,
Right.
Yeah, I think what you're doing is excellent, man.
And speaking of giveaways, maybe one of you guys noticed in the chat, I don't know, I'm still trying to confirm, but I believe the XP hat that Ohio Relic Hunter won, he said to give to the next caller.
Yes.
So, Marty, you have won yourself an XP hat.
Well, I own an XP Deus, and I love it.
That's perfect.
So that's cool.
Courtesy of...
in my next video, I guess. I mean, what the heck? Thanks, guys. Cool.
And that's courtesy of...
I've used a ton of machines over the years. I heard earlier you guys were talking about different machines, and, I'm a fan of all machines. I've used White's machines. I've used Fisher's. Actually, one of my favorite machines was the Fisher CZ6A. I don't know if you guys remember that. It's kind of
That's an
Fisher
older one.
CZ6A. You want to talk about something that was the old school silver machine, that one there.
Right.
That thing would sniff out silver like you would believe, I never really use Minelabs much, but I know people that have great success with the E-Track and the CTX. And, I'm really not biased to any one machine. I think as long as you're having fun, go for it,
Well, I'll tell you what, you sound like that, you certainly will get a kick out of that XP hat. Let's go ahead and amp it up a notch. Maybe we can get you an XP shirt in there as well, if you can tell me what Tarheel's first silver coin was.
It's the Real.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I'm following you guys. I enjoy what you guys do. I think you're good for the hobby, and I really enjoy it. And I appreciate you taking the call, and best of luck to all you guys.
Okay, I do believe that you are on my Facebook friends list.
I sure am.
Okay, if you can PM me your shipping information, I will make sure to forward that along, and we will make sure to get that hat and shirt out to you in the mail. I will need your sizing information for the shirt, though. So just include that in your PM.
No worries. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for putting up a great show. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Matty.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call.
Have a great night. Bye-bye.
And there we have it, another winner, courtesy of Treasure Hunter Supply and Beyond Sight and Sound.
Awesome.
So that's definitely cool. And that Real, that had to have been just a phenomenal find. Man, what a way to... It kind of spoils a person, doesn't it? For that to be your first silver coin, where you kind of going, gee, how do I top this?
I got to tell you, I kind of thought that was going to be the norm. I thought, well, I'll go back there the next time and I'll get another one, right? Not.
Yeah, but, doesn't exactly work like that.
I went to the chats online and I posted it and I said, hey guys, I found my first silver today, and I posted a picture of it, and you should have heard the grumbling and the groaning and moaning. Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, probably people, I've been hunting all these years and I never found one, and this is your first silver coin?
Exactly. That's exactly the reception I received. So I learned my lesson there pretty quick.
Right. But still, I mean, what a way to start off the hobby out of the gate.
Yeah, it was something. It was about my 4th hunt ever, too, which was just phenomenal when I think back on it now.
Oh, yeah. But like you said, you live in a good area as far as relic hunting.
Yeah, it's an interesting area. Again, I don't live near any battle sites or anything like that, but there was so much activity in the 1800s in this area that you just never know what you're going to find next. I mean, it might be a coin, it might be a button, it might be a bullet. You just don't know. That's one of the fun things that I enjoy about the hobby.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, our history is different in our respected, in respect to our different areas.
That's right.
Yes,
that's
that
right.
is so true.
But there is still history out there for all of us to find. Maybe old tokens, old coins, Civil War era relics. It's all out there for us. We just have to look.
Yep. I have great appreciation for the folks in the Northeast who do the cellar hole hunts. That's a completely different type of hunt. The beach hunt.
Dave Wise, Tilties, Stealth Diggers, they all do a great job. Some great hunters in that respect, too, for the cellar hole hunting. And they all also have a very deep respect for the past.
Right. Yep, absolutely.
It's really good to see, too. They're very good representatives of the, I guess would be a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. If you watch Filtzy's videos, he does an incredible job documenting he and Dave out hunting those cellar holes. And then, of course, you got the Stealth Diggers and everyone else out there hunting, NH Treasure Hunter. They do a great job.
Oh, yeah. And they do an excellent job with the way they put those videos together as well.
Well, I think what you're seeing now, too, lately anyway, is a definite boost in video editing in the metal detecting community. I've noticed that in the last year here.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is great. They're raising the bar, which is fabulous. That's fantastic, and I think we can all learn from that.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. And I think that competition would be a bad word to use for it. I don't want to say necessarily that it's becoming to be a competitive edge. I think it's more the fact that we see others putting out these videos and know the time and effort that they're putting into them, and it compels us to try and do a better job with our own videos.
Yeah, I completely...
Maybe in our own way or something. Not that we're competing, it's just we're an evolution of self-improvement, so to speak.
That's a great way to put it, Josh. And in fact, you kind of lead me into one of the things that I like to focus on is doing shout-outs for folks. And I try to include one with every video that I put up, but it doesn't always happen, for time reasons. And it's far from a competition for me. And in fact, we're here to support each other. We're here to help each other improve and give each other some positive feedback along with some constructive criticism.
Absolutely.
But
that is so true.
Yeah, and there's so many folks out there just trying to get started on YouTube, and maybe they're new to the hobby. And there's some folks out there that are veterans to the hobby and just trying to get started on YouTube, and their story needs to be told too. So I strongly encourage them and try to find those types of folks. In fact, Dirt Flicker, you can probably expect a shout out here in the next month or so, buddy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He does a good job with his videos too.
I just
he
watched
did a
a
recent
couple
bottom
of them.
hunt video.
Yeah, I just watched a couple of them today. He found a 3-cent piece. It was a great video, and then the recovery was very real. And that's the kind of stuff I like to watch, is the real reactions of people when they find when they find what they're looking for. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And if you look back at his videos like that, you can see he does have a definite passion for the hobby.
That's it.
And he's been doing this quite a while himself, too. It really made some nice finds, too. I really enjoyed his last bottle dig video. And speaking of videos, you do quite a nice job yourself with yours. Like you said, you try to do a lot of the subscribers are used to seeing the shout out of the week at the beginning of the videos sometimes. Mm-hmm. And they're most assuredly guaranteed to see the paper towel wrap-up.
Yep, absolutely. Paper towel wrap-up brought to you by Bounty.
Right. And, you know, these are little, identifiers in a sense.
Yes, they do.
Trademarks, so to speak,
right.
that we become accustomed to seeing in the videos that we watch of the people that we follow. And you yourself have done quite a nice job with the editing, the transitions, and stuff like that. Do you have any advice for, say, someone who would like to start doing videos, or maybe they're already doing some videos but would like to dress them up a little bit or anything like that? Because we all started somewhere.
That's right. That's exactly right. And you know, the first point I'd like to make is, I think there's a lot of good metal detectorists out there. I'm far from being an excellent metal detectorist, and I'm far from being an excellent cinematographer as well. But you know, somehow the two come together, and I make it work. But you know, just do what you like in watching other people's videos. I've picked up on some things that I like in other folks' videos, and that's kind of where the paper towel wrap-up came from. I like the initial find. I like uncovering it and seeing it dug and recovered, and that's all great. But then I like to hear the story afterwards. For instance, on that Masonic medallion, you know, I had no clue what I had dug. But after I'd cleaned it up and researched it and understood what it was, then I could intelligently talk about it. And I really liked that part of it. That's a huge part of our hobby. It's not just about digging and finding and digging and finding. There's research that takes place afterwards, and so I always like to do some research on the objects I found, and then do my wrap up, so that hopefully I can you know, educate the folks on what I found, and in the process I educate myself.
Absolutely, like was mentioned in Utah's chat the other night. Some research is key. It's good to do your research about the site. The hunt is fun too, but sometimes it's that research after the hunt, the story behind a find, that you come to find out that that's almost more enjoyable, or in some cases is more fun than, you know, digging up the find itself.
I've often thought about actually filming my reaction when I find out what it is I've found. On the internet, there's so many great resources and different places you can go to find out, you know, not just a Google search, but different websites on Facebook and different groups so that you can post your find, and folks will help you identify it. Yeah, it's definitely a big part of our hobby is researching what you've found, and it has led me down many different roads, and I've learned so much about not just our local history, but history in general, and that's all thanks to this hobby.
Is there a particular type of camera that you like to carry in the field with you, or is your footage mainly recorded off of a cell phone or something?
Good question. You know, I started with a basic camera. It was just like a Nikon Pixar, and you know, you push the button and the lens pops out, and you can video from there and take pictures or whatever. I found that wasn't real handy in the field because that lens would get jammed up with dirt and dust and grime, and so I actually spent some money and bought a decent Sony camera that's shockproof, waterproof. It fits in my back pocket. It's very compact, and I take it with me wherever I go. And I'd strongly recommend to everyone out there, Josh, if even if you're not posting videos on YouTube actively, take that camera with you. Take a camera with you, even if it's on your cell phone, and just start filming some of the finds that you're making, and getting some of those reactions on video. You'll appreciate it down the road. You know, I go back and watch a lot of my older videos over again and just kind of relive those moments, and it's priceless. It's
absolutely.
Somebody recommended that to me. Yeah, somebody recommended that to me early on, and it's something I took to heart, and I've never regretted it.
Yeah, you've preserved that experience for the future. You can go back and view it yourself, use it as reference. And even if you're not, like you said, actively posting these videos, you still have them. And when you do make that great find, you've got the camera right there. You could video it, you could upload it to YouTube if you want, what have you. But if you don't have it and you don't capture that experience, you may find yourself regretting it.
Exactly. You know, I was not carrying a video camera with me when I found my first silver, that 1816 Spanish real, and I'm still kicking myself about that. And ever since, you know, you're not going to catch me in the field without a camera, at least my cell phone on me.
Right. Usually, if I don't have one of my cameras with me, I always make sure I've at least got my cell phone, so I've got that to fall back on.
Right.
Normally, I do have a couple of cameras with me, though, and I always carry the Detecting Doodads camera mount.
Yeah.
And I got to throw this out there too, Josh. When you talked about tips for filming and whatnot, I see a lot of different detectorists out there posting videos on YouTube, and one of the mistakes I see them make is when they're doing a wrap up or they've got their find in the hole, they'll pick it up and pull it toward the camera, and instantly it's out of focus. And right. I get frustrated with that, and I keep thinking to myself, you know, just leave it where it's at and bring the camera down to the object. I think you can get a much clearer picture, and you'll get much better results in doing that.
Definitely a good point. Some of the cameras, they refocus a little quicker than others. Sometimes it's not so much an issue, but that is a common occurrence for many of us in the field. It does happen. But it's good that they're out there and they're still trying to get those clips, because in reality, like for me anyway, and I'm sure it's probably the same way for you, it's nice to be able to take others along with us, so to speak.
Yes,
and
it is.
let them share in the finds and the experiences, and you know, you're watching their videos as well, so you're seeing what they're finding, and you can kind of compare finds that way, see what other people are finding, and in many times, you know, you see where someone's made a nice find, you're tickled they made it, especially if you've been a subscriber of theirs for a while. You know, it's like, hey, good job, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
When I first started doing this, it was just for family and friends, and you know, I was posting things up there so that family from my home area could see what I was doing and what I was finding. And all of a sudden, I started finding out that a lot of other people were interested in what I was doing, and it just grew very organically, but it grew quickly.
Oh, absolutely! You have quite a subscriber base.
You know, I just today passed 2,500 subscribers, which is a pretty decent milestone. I usually don't, keep track of numbers like that. I never did any giveaways or anything until just this year, and really enjoyed this last giveaway in May, and I think I'm really going to enjoy this youth video contest as well, Josh.
Oh, I think so too. And like you mentioned, the information is there in the video description, as well as in the video. You kind of read down the list of the guidelines that you had. And I think you're right. It's gonna be tough to choose those 10 people.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a clue, and this is just for the folks that are listening in tonight. It wouldn't hurt, and I did not mention this in my original video, considering that there's going to be at least 2 judges from my sponsor, Kellyco. It wouldn't hurt to throw a Kellyco logo in your video somewhere. All right?
Nice touch.
Yep.
With that in mind about the youth video contest, have you had much response from that yet?
Yeah, instantly, I think within 24 hours I had about 350 views on that video, and folks asking a lot of questions, and I've been providing answers. I've got some submissions already. They've been coming in, but they haven't been pouring in. I think, I've given until noon Eastern time on July 26th as the deadline. So I think folks are kind of saying, all right, let's plan this out. Let's do it right. Let's make it count.
Right.
So
and much like you said in your video, help them out, put some thought into it, let them be creative. Right. So maybe they're just, like you said, they're trying to plan this out a little bit, put some thought into it, and try to produce a good little video. Because, as you said, you want it kept to a 2-minute maximum, I believe?
That's right. 2 minutes is the maximum, and that will be strictly enforced. But yeah, I think it's summertime now. The kids, for the most part, are out of school, and my goal is let's get them off the couch, let's get them away from the TV, away from the phone, away from the iPad, and get them out digging and get them out making videos and having fun with the family.
Exactly. Learning that history, because as many of us in the hobby have seen, the history books and the schools only kind of scratch the surface.
You can read about the history, or you can go out and dig it and hold it in your hand, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and there's nothing like just getting out there and experiencing it for yourself.
That's right. And I do want to clarify one thing, too, and I'm probably going to throw this in one of my next videos, but I did say in the initial video that I'm not going to be shipping to any international addresses, but that doesn't exclude folks who maybe just across the border in Canada who maybe have a P.O. box in the United States or some good friends that live in the United States that I could ship that detector to. So keep that in mind, folks.
Oh, good point.
Canada, Mexico, wherever you are, all I need is a domestic shipping address for that price.
Which you had mentioned in your video had to be a domestic address.
Yes.
Not that necessarily you're wanting to exclude others, but shipping costs for something like that could be a little pricey. Yeah,
I think I learned my lesson in my last contest in May, where I opened it up worldwide, and it was, we worked through it. There was an issue that came up, but we worked through it seamlessly. It was not that big of a deal. But you got to draw the line somewhere, especially when you're shipping a metal detector.
I definitely wish you the best of luck with the contest, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot of support for it. It sounds like you're already seeing it. Yeah, like I said, we've got a lot of views on that video. Calico's helping me out by posting it to their Facebook page, and they're hashtagging it like crazy. So I'm getting a lot of views, getting a lot of attention to it. Can't say enough about how supportive Calico has been. When I started this a couple months ago, I was looking for some help, and I talked to a few dealers, and there were some folks that were willing to help me out. And suddenly I got an email just out of the blue from the marketing team at Calico saying, "Hey, we've been seeing your videos. We like what you're doing. Would you be interested in collaborating at all?" And I'm like, wow, you caught me at the perfect time. Right. Talk about timing. Yeah, it was just, I don't know, it's just one of those things. The stars aligned right, and everything came together. Well, that's good. Definitely. And it's great that you're using this support to kind of get the future generation for the hobby involved. Yeah, that's what it's all about in this video to me, is let's get that next generation involved. Let's find the next nugget noggin. Let's find the next depths of history. Who's the next kid that's going to come out and be addicted to this hobby? Exactly. You never know where that young digger is going to come from, and you may find that he or she takes to it quite well. Yeah, and that's something I definitely want to mention too, is the gals are more than invited to come in and make videos. I've seen so many women get into this hobby in the last few years. It's just been stunning. Oh, exactly. And on YouTube, and it's just great to see them out there, and they're really into it big time. Yeah, for those on Facebook, I'm sure they've already seen it everywhere. If they haven't, Dominique is actually running a contest right now as well for a White's Treasure Master. Yeah, that's a great machine. And in fact, the first
first hole she dug with that, she pulled a large cent out, which is amazing.
The first plug. I mean, what? I mean, where do you go from there? Her first plug, and she gets a large cent.
Where do you go from there is a good point.
Man, you talk about how the technology that we have nowadays can really begin to spoil us if we don't watch it. You know, much like you said, with your first silver being that real.
Yeah.
Man, you know, they're very nice finds, very respectable finds, and it's amazing when you see it pop up just that quick. And I think she had literally pretty much just turned the machine on and started hunting.
Yeah, yep, that's what I saw, and it's amazing. But it's good to see the support that she's getting from whites and the whole group in the Northeast there. She's getting a lot of support, and that's just awesome.
Oh yeah,
it is
absolutely.
very awesome.
I agree. Well, I think that we're getting towards the end of our rope here. But before we go, maybe you'd like to take a minute for those who may not know where to find you, and let them know, you know, your YouTube channel, anything like that. Any other tidbits you'd like to throw in there, shout out, or other little pieces of advice that you may have.
All right. Well, obviously, I'm at Tarheel Diggin on YouTube, and Tarheel is one word on YouTube. Tarheel Diggin. Currently on Facebook as Tarheel Diggin, at least until the Facebook police shut me down for not using my real name.
Right, I got hit with that myself. Wow.
And I know that'll happen eventually, and that's no big deal. I'm fine with that. That's all right. But
right. Cross that bridge when you get there.
We'll cross it when we get there. As for now, I'm still Tarheel Diggin on Facebook. I also fired up an email address for the contest. So if anyone wants to get a hold of me via email, it's tarheeldiggin@gmail.com, and that's where you send the entries for your contest. So I can't wait to see some of those entries. That's going to be a lot of fun reviewing those videos.
Oh,
and
you should probably mention too, in your video you specified a certain file size.
Yeah, if you're going to email the entire video to me, it needs to be 25 megabytes or less. Otherwise, you know, if you have a YouTube channel or something like that, you can upload the video and just email a link to me. And if you still can't get it to me, just zap me an email and say, hey, man, I'm having a heck of a time getting this video down under 25 megs. What should I do? And I can figure out something. The folks at Calico, again, are working with me to figure out a Dropbox or something we can do for those larger file sizes that you don't have any control over.
Very nice. Very nice. Any other bits of advice or anything before we go?
You know, that's it for now, Josh. I just want to thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been a lot of fun. I've been watching this show for the last 6 or 8 months, and I really appreciate what you are doing, and you and Kenny and Joe, and Chris, I should say. I appreciate what you guys are doing for the hobby. You've said a lot of kind words about me and my channel, but I just want to throw it right back at you. We really, really greatly appreciate what you're doing with this weekly show, and I hope it continues, and you always have my support, buddy.
Oh, well, that is certainly appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and as well, thank you for taking the time to sit down with us tonight, and Chris, a big thanks to you for sitting in with us. Anything you would like to add before we go?
No, just a fantastic show. Like Matt said, just get out there and enjoy the hobby. Just enjoy it, enjoy your finds, and share your finds with other people.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
That's a good point. For everyone else who have taken the time to join us tonight, interact in the chat, call in, tune in, anything like that, we always appreciate the support from the listeners. If you enjoyed the show, by all means, give it the thumbs up, like, rate the channel, give us some stars. Obviously, the support does keep the giveaways and contests rolling, and we do have more in the future. As well as, we haven't broke the news yet. It'll probably be a few more days, maybe around the weekend. But we do have a guest coming up in probably 2 weeks that we'll be doing a show pertaining to permissions and things along that line. Maybe even a little bit of mention about the CTX and Deus boot camps. A very informative individual. So make sure and keep your eyes out for that promo when it drops. Other than that, for everyone else, we certainly appreciate you all tuning in. Chris, Matt, hang in there with me. Tune in next week, folks. You never know what's going to happen. Until then, like, rate the channel. Have a wonderful night. Get out there and try to dig. And we'll see you next week.